We've already started talking without you, so we'll back up just a minute. The thing that piqued your interest listening to the rest of us talk was the 60% goal.
Right. Yeah, I've done a little bit of work looking at attainment rates, as you say, any post-secondary as well as college and postgraduate. And to me, it looks disturbing, like we're sort of topping out. Like attainment rates have risen over time if you look at successive birth cohorts.
Just to be clear, attainment of the college degree?
Well, either, whether you look at post-secondary, any post-secondary, so 2-year degree, technical degree,
okay.
Or if you look at college graduation rates, and even more so at the postgraduate level. With the exception of Asian Americans, most of those rates have pretty much stopped increasing.
Getting closer to that 60% sounds difficult.
So it seems, so that's a big lift to get the population. In addition, we have a changing population. It's much less evident in the St. Louis area, but nationally, the Latino population is growing very fast as a share, and Latinos have the lowest education level, and there's been virtually no increase in attainment rates in recent years. So I mean, those are the kinds of factors. I mean, it's a laudable goal, but I guess my point really is that I'm not sure how we get there incrementally. I think it has to be, sort of a new paradigm. How do we envision what are those post-secondary qualifications? How are we going to get people motivated and financed and to complete that? I mean, I think that's the goal we should be thinking about, but I just don't see how we get there.
Well, and I think you're exactly right, Bill. It is a huge goal. It's a very we call it it's our big, hairy, audacious goal, and
yes.
And we set that on purpose because we know that if you go a lot lower, we know we're doing a disservice to those in our community. But it really does require us to work incredibly differently together.
Right.
We've been on this path with St. Louis graduates now for 6 years, and it started with conversations in coffee shops among funders and providers that were less around which program is better and what should we fund. The conversation turned to how do we make a difference for all young people across the community, and that was a sea change in the conversation. And so that, in our partnership with the St. Louis Regional Chamber, for example, that's a really different way of working together around this. I don't think we don't know all the answers now, but we know what some of those right paths are. We know where we can put time and energy, and I think collectively we can figure it out and find the way. But it's a long journey that we'll be on.
I think one thing that, to speak to your point, is that there is truly a paradigm shift. What does the labor market look like in 5 years? Technology continues to change. When you mentioned Cortex, one of you mentioned Cortex, we have young people at Cortex. We have young people that are getting exposure early on to career exploration. So we are looking at the labor market index to see what type of careers are going to be out there the next 5 and 10 years, and making sure young people are really investing their time, resources, and effort. That means going to school for the right thing. We want to see what careers will hit our market, because we have, so that we can bring companies into our market, we have to build a talented workforce, a skilled workforce. So we have to really look at the companies that are wanting to come in and really talk to young people about that, giving young people the right and current information.
Right, and as you say, the particular skills that employers want may not be a 4-year college degree.
It may not be, and right now, it's not. I mean, they're looking for. Clearly, I have a doctorate degree, so I love education. But I have young people. Not every young person is wanting a 4-year degree. Right. Some young people need to just get a skill and go into the workforce. And I love when you mentioned you can't have one without the other, when you were talking about the soft skills that transfer over into a classroom or a business, and also some very skilled technical skills. We have right now the biggest technology boom in our region with Code Red and Launch Code and Blue 1647 and hackathons and all of that want to teach young people how to code. You don't need a degree for that. You need the technical skill. They will hire young people without a degree. So we really, as educators, we really need to make sure that we're giving right information, and then the institution maybe has to change to keep up with this paradigm shift. That's where I see it.
Launch Code may be a good example of this, and you're talking about getting the chamber on board. So maybe I'm connecting two dots with a line that doesn't exist, but we're hearing the chamber wants to be involved, but we're also hearing that maybe businesses don't invest in a mobile workforce like they used to. How do you see the involvement of our regional businesses, of our leaders there?
Let me make sure it clarifies. So the chamber is absolutely involved in this. So this was to really land the Lumina grant and their investment in this community. It was a partnership application between St. Louis Graduates and the regional chamber. In Klein, who's the VP of Educational Policy, is now a member of the St. Louis Graduates Steering Committee. So we're really working to deeply align those systems and all the work of going through and thinking about the goals and what we're going to be working on together. We're actually walking hand in hand. Probably more of our meetings now are at the chamber than they are at our previous meeting site. So I just want to make sure I emphasize that this is now happening. There's much work to be done, but I think when you think about paradigm shift, it's a great example of what can happen in our community when we start thinking differently together.
Exactly, and workforce is definitely involved. We work along with all the companies that come in and all the creative partnerships. So we are truly working together in this, not particularly with this initiative, but with multiple initiatives. Our executive director, Mr. Michael K. Holmes, he does an awesome job of thinking outside of the box, actually blowing up the box. It's no longer, the box doesn't exist with him. Oh, I hope he isn't watching. Anyway, but he creates so many innovative partnerships, and I think that also speaks volumes about the leadership in our city. Our mayor does push the envelope to increase volume and capacity in our city because he wants our young people that go away to college, he wants them to come back and come work and really invest in our city.
Any paradigm shifts going on at the university level?
Oh, absolutely, and that's what I was going to address about in terms of that bold goal of 60%. I mean, the colleges and universities have really taken this on with a laser focus because now not only are we just focused on our enrollment, but we're focused on student outcomes. And degree completion right now is priority number one. I was actually at the retention summit earlier today at the Missouri University of Science and Technology, and all 4 campuses of the UM system were there all day long to really focus on how we can better support students and make sure we provide more opportunities for students to graduate. And there's many holes in the process, many gaps that we need to fill in terms of financial aid and advising and making sure we offer courses at the right times and the right delivery method so students can complete their degrees. And what you're going to see is consistent increases in our retention and graduation rates over the next few years. I mean, our region has already seen progress. We went from 39% to 43% in the last couple of years, and we expect to continue on that trajectory. Now, to get to 60%, I mean, we would have to have a major acceleration.
And we will.
By 2025, I think is the goal. Is that right?
Well, 50% by 2020. Well, 2020 for us, and then 60% by 2025.
It's not that far away.
It's not.
Sounds like there's a laser-like focus that everybody has to have, all the way down to the student who's picking a major.
Yep.
Or picking a trade school.
Yeah, I mean, I think to get to 60%, we have to look at who is accessing higher education, who is accessing these early employment opportunities, because there's certain sectors of the city in the region where, rates of going to college are a lot lower, and I think that's where we can kind of make up that. Where we go from 43 to 60% is to focus more energy on those areas where, maybe 5 to 10% of the high school graduates are actually going on to college, and get that up to 30, 40%, and then we'll start to see the number expand closer to 60.
I also, let me just support what he just said. I also think that we should think about early childhood education. I think investing in early childhood education is very important, and I think that that's going to also help us. I say us, even though I haven't been to any of their meetings, I'm still a part of it because I live in St. Louis, you're a part of it, you're a part of it. So I think investing in early education is going to help us reach that goal. That's why I think it's doable. And there's people here in our city that's also investing in that as well.
The Economist view, we have just a little bit of time, but that's pretty striking. I think it was 43% have degrees overall, but only we dropped down to 26% when we talk about the African American population. does that have has to have long-lasting impacts on our economy.
Well, I think Patrick maybe mentioned, I mean, and also Alan, that's where the growth opportunities are. In a sense, that's where we have to be successful. And I do think that it's got to be broadly defined in post-secondary. It's not just four-year college. I mean, all due respect to UMSL and all of the other great institutions, but and I think
we'll hold it right there for 1 second. We'll continue the conversation online. Stay tuned. .9net.org, where that's all the time we have on the air. So until next time, thanks for watching and stay tuned.